What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, and today I am joined with Alejandro. He just finished X2, finished 8-2 at the online Treasure Cup with Foxy, the first Foxy, I believe, within NA to receive a top. So huge congrats on that. What led you to playing Foxy in this Treasure Cup?
Well, thank you for having me, man. Well, I've been playing Foxy pretty much all of OP09, the whole set. Um, right before the set started, I watched a video of a Japanese player playing Foxy against Lucci and just running him over, and that was kind of exciting to me. Like
Yeah.
seeing a rogue deck doing that well. I think it ended up in top 8 in a regional or something like that in Japan. And I just fell into the rabbit hole. I started playing it. It was so freaking fun,
Did
and
I did
it's been that from there. I even brought it to nationals.
Word. I love that. Yeah, I get it because Foxy, it's so interesting because the biggest thing for me, and I've made a couple videos on Foxy, is he has a decent spread, I think, for one, but then two, like he's seen results in just Asia overall, but has yet to see anything really happen here. And I think, of course, that's a big part of like, players dedicating time to him. But I do think there's a lot of opportunity. So huge. Do you remember what your matchups were from the Treasure Cup?
Yes, I played against one green Uta, two red Shanks, one purple Luffy, four Dofi, and one Blackbeard.
Got it. And what were your losses to?
It was one against Shanks and one against Lucci. Arguably my two worst matchups.
Got it.
And yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, anything else? You're welcome to chime in.
Well, I still have flashbacks with the Shanks match that I lost because there was definitely a way I could have won that game, but sometimes uh it escapes your mind.
No, I've been
But
I've been
it
there
was it was a
one too
very
many
close game.
times.
I feel you.
All right.
But yeah, it was definitely a fun experience.
Cool. Amazing. Well, yeah, huge congrats. Obviously, a huge accomplishment. Can't wait to see what more you do. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the deck here.
All right, we can start with the 2Ks. I run four Uzohachi, four Gina, and four Black Maria. The four Uzohachi, it's self-explanatory. It's the best purple 2K there is at the moment. Um, as well as Gina is the only Foxy 2K available right now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also with a pretty strong ability on if you have the same gun as your opponent, you can just ramp it on active. It opens up a lot of pretty cool plays. And Black Maria, this is a card that I debated a lot at the beginning. Um, it it can feel pretty bricky when it's on the board. It takes a space on the board, if a lot of times because you have so many cards that ramp in the deck that we're gonna go over in a minute. And after a couple turns, you just feels like it's doing nothing on the board. But it can definitely be a get out of jail free card, and allow you to put a lot of pressure in some of your worst matchups as well. Um,
Got it. Real quick,
after
I know you mentioned
yeah,
Gina. What instances do you find, like what matchups particularly, do you find yourself like at the same amount of Dawn? Is it just like after a Porsche minus to gain that extra Dawn, or like what instances that you can think of was Gina actually like playing Gina really good for the effect?
well, there's a really cool play going second where you can literally play three Foxies and still go to seven on the next turn. That involves Gina. We can go over that in a minute.
Okay.
Also, it's one of the I wouldn't. It's not the best force target to play, but it definitely helps when you don't see the cards that you need. Also, when you want to play your big drops in the next turn and you just don't have enough dawn, just play a Gina, play an active, and still use the same amount of active dawn you would have used that turn. Uh, Most of the times it's just 2k, hopefully,
Got it.
but
Okay.
it can definitely work
Cool. Yeah.
with a
Well,
lot of combos.
let's keep going.
All right. We got our ramp cards. We got four Bonkley, uh, and four Itomizu. Bonkley, again, one of the best cards in purple. Ramp one active. If you go second, you just play a Bonkley on curve, and you can play your 7 cost Foxy right away. Itomimitsu, probably the card that you want to see the most in your opening hand. Um, it's really, really good against Blackbeard, for example, when they try to negate
Mm,
your Forge, because it's an activate main ability to ramp arrested on. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, we have for blockers on Tuka's Chopper. We have two 5 cost kit and three Onami. The Tuka's Chopper is another Foxy Pirates. Ramps you down when you're on a cooldown to the opponent or less down. Generally pretty good with comboing. It is just a perfect card for this deck. It can be a little bricky because it's hard to play in certain matchups, and it takes up a space off your board where you want to have a Foxy Pirate for the literal ability to work. Um, but it's definitely good. Getting that down back active is uh, opens you to a lot more combos. In Onami, one of the things that this deck might struggle a little bit with is card draw because it doesn't have a lot despite the 9 cost Luffy. Um, but yeah, man, it's just another blocker. This is a deck where you wanna take a good amount of life, stay at 2 life or 3 lives through most of the game, and Onami can really help you out with that.
got it. Are you playing Onami in like the early game, or is she coming down more so in like the late game for like a defensive plus value play?
Uh, it's definitely better for the late game. Because in the later turns, you already have your 3 Foxy Pirates set up. You don't really need much, and having a blocker can really help you save those 7 cost Foxes, those Spores. Uh, and this deck doesn't have a great amount of bricks, but you can cycle those out as well. The late game is definitely better, but if you have nothing else to play of your Porsche on 3 Dawn, Onami is a perfect choice.
Got it. And was there any
Um,
reason you opted for Onami versus Queen? Is it just the 5 versus 4, or is it like the Dawn minus requirement for Queen?
eh, so the Dawn minus is not that important because you have so many things that ramp during your turn constantly. But Onami is playable of Porsche. So
Oh, that
being able
makes
to play a
sense.
4 ghost
That
blocker
makes
of
sense.
yeah, with just 3 Dawn is really, really good.
Got it. Got it.
Um, Now for big drops, we have 4 7 cost Sanji and 3 9 cost Luffy. Something that this deck was lacking a lot in previous sets was an actual uh, late game besides the 7 cost Foxy.
Mm-hmm.
Purple didn't have a lot of things that would uh, have that much synergy with Foxy, but that's where the 7 cost Sanji and the 9 cost Luffy really excel at. They put a lot of pressure on the opponent's life. Well, Luffy straight up draws you a card. Um, Also a great combo when they try not to rest their stuff, so you don't freeze it. You just play something Kosanji, rest one of their 6 or less characters, and freeze it with Leader ability is definitely good.
Yeah.
And well, Luffy is also self-explanatory. It's just a great card.
Yeah, the Luffy's just honestly, I think it's like one of the best rushers in the game. So
It is so good. Um, we have to continue with some more Foxy Pirates. We have 4 pickles. It says if the number done on my field is equal or less to my opponent's done, then my other Foxy Pirates cannot be KO'd except for pickles. It's the best card to have against black. It helps a lot against tanks as well. And it's just another Foxy Pirate to fill up a spot, honestly.
yeah, Pickles. When I was playing Lucci, a guy in my locals liked to play Foxy, and yeah, Pickles, especially like a late game Pickles where you just establish a threat. Because like when you want to be playing Gecko, like you can only really like remove Pickles if they decide to
Yep.
take that route, and they don't have anything like a Brook or something to try to bait it out first before they do anything. Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Yep.
Pickles.
Playing double Porsche into a pickle against like a Lucci pretty much wins you the game because they have no way to get rid of everything in your board. You can just aggro them down. We go to what I believe is the best card in the deck, hands down. It is Porsche.
Best card in
Uh,
Reiju as well.
Best card in Rages, indeed. I play Raju. I actually play Raju for a while. It's such a fun deck as well. I've been ever since I stopped playing Katakuri, I've just been playing purple the whole time. And Raju was definitely a fun deck to play. That's where I got acquainted with Porsche. It is -1 on play, search, so it replaces herself, and also you can play something. And there's so many targets for Porsche. We got the Punkplay, we got the Black Maria, the Gina, the Usohachi, the Itomimitsu, the Blocker Nami, Blocker Chopper, Pickles. Like, it's almost impossible that you don't play something with Porsche whenever you play her. At least with this build that I have. Also a great way to flood your board. It's probably the best card you want to see. Well, along with Itomimitsu against Blackbeard. But yeah, it's just a great card.
Got it.
And then my favorite card in this deck, the 7-cost Foxy. It's pretty simple. On active main, you can ramp it down, rest it. And so it pretty much pays for the Leader ability in the long run. And on opponent's turn, all of your opponent's characters get -1000. So just by playing a single Foxy is like, well, depending on how many characters the opponent has, it's like having 1 to 5 more K counter in your hand.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you, especially if you can play multiple at the same time. It's such a fun card. Playing it in the right moments or drawing it in the right moments feels so good. It is the heart and soul of this deck, honestly. I don't think it would be anywhere near as good without it.
Yeah, yeah, because he's got the
Um,
ramp ability too. So like when you use your leader, you get the ramp one at 10, and this you can consistently stay at 10. But then again, he's literally like he's the OG Shanks. Like all your characters lose 1,000 power, and if two
Literally.
stick, it goes a long way. Just in the same way, like when you face 2 10 drops, it's like what do I do?
Mhm.
It's the same math. It's just a lot cheaper.
Yep. In fact, one of the games I played against the Shanks, I had 3 7-cost Foxes on the board at the same time. They had a 10-cost Shanks that was a 9,000 power
That's
attack.
crazy.
It's hilarious. And the last 2 cards of the deck are 2 copies of Megaton Ninetales Rush. It's a simple effect. It is 3 Dawn to restun one of your Foxy. if I have equal or less done than my opponent, so either my leader or one of my 7-cost Foxy. Um, it can be a dead card against other purple decks, because especially purple Luffy and purple black Luffy, because they use giant so much. It's really
Yeah.
hard to time it where you have less done that they do, but it wins a lot of matchups as well. And that's the deck, pretty much.
Amazing. Yeah, love it, love it. I think it, I think it makes sense. Looking at the deck here itself, what are your ideal turns looking like? What is like the ideal curve, both going first and going second?
Um, well, there's a lot of ways depending on which matchup you're playing. You always want to have a Porsche. Um, or multiple Porsche, as many Porsche as you can see, honestly. Porsche is
Okay.
such a good card. Along with something to play with Porsche. Uh, it's definitely okay if you don't have a RAM card alongside your Porsche, because you can search it. But you want to be as certain as possible. If you don't see your Porsche and just see like going first, just see an Ito, just play your Ito, ramp, go to 6, maybe find a Porsche and play it, search another Porsche, because that's another thing. Porsche searches itself. You can play
Yeah.
Porsche into Porsche. It's insane. Um, play a double Porsche, play a Eustace Captain Kid, play a Clay, really anything. Going second, there's not a lot of matchups where you want to go second. Blackbeard's an example. Um, but you do want to ramp to 7 as fast as you can. It's just yeah, just 4 down, play your Clay, play your Ito, ramp to ramp to 5 so you can be at 7 next turn and play your 7-cost Fox as soon as you can. Everything after that is pretty straightforward. Play the rest of the the foxes you need and use literal ability every turn after that. Um, my favorite play, like going second, is a play that a friend pointed out to me. If you, it's a combo of a few cards. Well, actually, just these 4 cards. You go second, 3 down for Porsche, minus to 3. Lay out a Itomimizu before using the activate main. When you still have the same done as your opponent, pay 1 to play Jaina, go to 4, then activate main Ito, go to 5, and then your next turn you can play a 7-cost Foxy and start using Leader ability right away. It is very oppressive and is very fun. Cool thing is Porsche can actually search for those pieces if you don't have them all in hand. But I'm not trying to play for it. There's an infinite amount of ways to play this deck or to start a game with this deck. But the fact that we can do that play is really exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. Cool.
It's really cool.
And then, in what instances, like, when do you decide to mulligan? Like, is there any specific matchups where you're like, I have to see this card and you're going to mulligan? Or is there, like, any real, like, hands? Like, when are you deciding to mulligan?
Well, it doesn't happen a lot, but whenever I don't have any Foxy Pirates in hand or any ramp cards in hand, you're really looking for either Ito or Porsche, because Porsche can search uh, a ramp card. Um, I don't usually mulligan for 7-cost Foxy, especially if I have the rest of my pieces, because it just comes whenever you need it. You can search it with Porsche. You can cycle with Onami, and you have other things that you can play while you look for your Foxy, like your 7-cost Sanji or your 9-cost Luffy. Um, but yeah, I would definitely say mulligan 100% if you don't have any Foxy Pirates.
Got it.
Or if you don't have any ramp cards. That's
Got it.
that's my
And
rule.
then when it comes to like things like ramp, if it's your 3 curve, would you rather just play like Itomi Mizu or Porsche and Itomi Mizu? Like if you had both, would you rather just play Itomi Mizu ramp go to 4, or would you rather play Porsche go down and then stay at 3 and establish both Porsche and Itomi Mizu?
It definitely depends on the matchup. Against Blackbeard, if they use Leader ability, of course you're just gonna do Ito. Um, but most of the times you really want to do the Porsche. Why? Because your 6 cost curve is not that good.
Got it. That makes sense.
You know, because you don't really have a 6 cost to fully take advantage of that. Um, the only way would be like having 3 Porsches in hand, or not even that. I would always want to play Porsches. It's just so much value, you know.
Yeah, no, Porsche is a really good card. Cool. And then what do you think is Foxy's like best matchup? And then I know we kind of talked like Lucci and Shanks, but what do you think is also um, the worst matchup for Foxy?
So the best matchup is hands down the Flamingo, which is the reason why I picked up Fox in the first place, because I knew the Flamingo was gonna be the best deck in the meta. Um, and I even played for the Flamingo in the Treasure Cup, and I was able to beat them all. Uh, it just directly counters the Flamingo, because once they cannot use Leader ability, they lose their whole uh
Their value
card advantage.
system, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they lose their card advantage. They run out of cards extremely fast, and you can at that point you can just control their board and go for game in one single turn. Uh, yeah, that honestly that's the main reason why I picked it. Blackbeard is another really good matchup because of Force specifically. Um, if they don't Leader ability right away, it's really hard for them in the long run. And even if they do, you just play to Mimisu ramp and play your whole thing, you know. Once you have your 3 Foxy Pirates, which is not that hard, they can only remove 1, maybe 2 each turn, while you're also freezing the leader and something else. By the time they get to Blackbeard, to Tenko's Blackbeard, you already have multiple bodies that to the point where you can just go for game, no
got
matter how
it.
many. Yeah, no matter their big blocker, you know.
Got it. And then when it comes to the
Um,
leader, oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
Oh, when it comes to like the leader ability and like when it comes to like, your hand and your card value, what do you prioritize? Like, would you ever play out like, when are we playing Gina? When are we playing possibly 2 Ginas or like, spitting out the Porsche or the Chopper just to meet that requirement? Is that
Mhm.
like okay to just sacrifice those when you like once you're eligible for the leader ability? Should you be playing it so that like removed this body or that? When are we playing out like when we have to from the hand just to meet the
So
requirement?
So it always feels good to play Chopper even if you don't get the ramp ability, because it's just a blocker and a Foxy Virus helps with your ability. Now with Gina, it's a little more complicated. I would only personally play it when I really need to use their ability that turn, and I only have two other Foxy Pirates. Just play the Gina and go from there. Or when I need a specific amount of done next turn for what I want to do. There's been times where let's say I ran really fast and I uh go to 10 dawn, but I only have two Foxy Pirate cards. I can play the 9 cost Luffy minus the dawn, be at the same dawn as my opponent or less. Play Gina, ramp it on active, and use my little ability with 1 extra dawn. Okay. Uh, the whole point with the deck, my rule for using leader ability is not use it unless I know I'm gonna be at the same or more done next turn. So if I'm at 7, I play 7 cost Foxy, ramp to 8, -3, and I know I'm gonna be at 7 next turn. so I can
Hmm.
keep doing it consistently. So Gina really helps out with that in cases of emergency. If none of that comes out, just keep it as a 2K.
Got it. Cool. And then, so I know you said Dofi. You think it's really good. What do you think? Like, what is the game plan into Dofi? Is it going to be just ramp to 10 like as soon as possible, and then start using your minus, or what do we have going on there?
Um, no, you don't really need to be at 10 against Delphi. Again, for Delphi, you want both your Porsche and your 7 cost Delphi. Um, build up your board, go as wide as you can in the early game where you cannot use leader ability yet. Once you hit 7, play 7 cost Foxy and start swinging at the board. Run them out of resources, and of course tapping the leader. Um, but yeah, it's different every game. Because of course you don't really see all the pieces you need. There was one of the games where I didn't see my 7 cost Foxy early enough, but I needed to use leader ability and just play Black Maria of my Porsche. Um, that gave me enough time to find my 7 cost Foxy, find my other late game cards, and play it from there. But yeah, with Dofi, it's a little weird because you want to take life um to go to 3 or 2, but you don't want to take too fast so that they can pudding you. Pudding so is such a difficult card to play around.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good card.
Um, it's a really good card. Um, but yeah, that's why you don't want to litter ability extremely early to where you still have 5 life or 4 life, which is almost never gonna happen against Dofi, given how aggressive they are. Um, But yeah, as long as you had at least one 7 cost Foxy on board, you should be fine. Their whole thing is going wide, uh, and having one Foxy on board pretty much gives you 5K counter extra every turn.
Got it.
Um, but yeah, if you
Cool.
have two, then there's nothing else that you need to do.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like if you could. I mean, again, it's like a better 10-drop Shanks. If you play two 10-drop Shanks, you probably just don't lose. So I imagine it's similar with like the Foxy, just because they're so darn inefficient at that point, and then your counter is just so efficient because they have to
Yeah,
spend everything to either swing or play bodies, and they can't do both.
yeah,
So that
exactly.
makes sense. One last thing, I guess, here as well. I think, like, Dofi and BY are like the most represented right now. How do you feel into BY? And then what do you think is like the game plan there?
So black yellow, I would say it depends. It can be very positive for either one. It depends on if black yellow sees the removal or not. Um, if they have if they play their Kusan curve and I let it live, then everything gets a lot harder because I cannot play my saving cost Foxy as I want. You know, I would have to first remove the Kusan and then do everything else. If they don't have access to the Kusan, well, that's where 7 cost Sanji helps. You stress the Kusan, swing into it, kill it. Don't worry
Yep.
about that at all. Um, Same way that Purple Luffy does it actually. Um, if they don't have their removal or their minus effects, it's a lot different. You play as many 7 cost Foxes as you can. Since they're a deck that want to use all 10 Dawn for litter ability, play the Akos Moria, 2 Dawn on leader, and do their whole thing. They're forced to swing base numbers a lot. With Foxy, uh, obviously those numbers go a lot lower. If you have 2 Foxy, then their 5 cost Luffy can only swing for 6, and their Gekomorias can only swing for 7. You know,
Yep.
so yeah, that's where I believe everything comes down to if they have the removal for the 7-cost Foxy or not. Because
Got
once
it.
you start using leader ability, you just stop their leader. That's always gonna be the biggest swing that they have,
Uh-huh.
and it's pretty much useless for them because they cannot swing. You know.
Yeah. No, got it. Got it. Well, amazing. Well, I appreciate your time here today. Are there any shout outs, anything like that, anything you'd like to plug?
Well, a quick shout out to my wife for being the most supportive person ever. I
Love
don't
that.
think I would be doing this well without her. Shout out to my friends in the One Piece is Real. We're a One Piece community in Georgia. We're very competitive, and we help each other get better every day. And shout out to uh, all of the immigrants that are going through a very hard time. Anyone that's actually watching this, um, it's a very difficult situation for the whole United States and every immigrant in it. So uh, just keep going, stay safe, and everything will be better.
Got it. Well, amazing. Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks again. And if you're new to the channel, if you found this content of value, if you can do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. And then we'll also just have like the full deck list laid out here. But I will see you all in the next one.